Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, everybody. Today is, what is today? Today is Tuesday. This is my 5-minute wealth tip for you guys out there, and wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about, had an email that came across that asked me, say, Cory, you're always talking about what to do with your income and how to put it to work for yourself and things of that nature. But what do we do if we don't need the income and we're just sitting on a whole bunch of money? What do we do next? So I thought I'd do this video for the clients that actually sent this email out to us and talk a little bit about planning without taking income. So here we go. So first of all, when it comes to planning, a lot of our clients have done a great job of saving and putting money away and making sure they have enough assets to live comfortably. Now, fortunately enough, a big chunk of our clients have pension plans that have given them the opportunity to live pretty comfortably. Their income that comes in from their pensions, Social Security, and maybe outside investments covers their lifestyle more than enough that they don't necessarily need to take any other sources of income. Well, so let's talk a little bit about planning from a legacy standpoint. First and foremost, understand this. And I've talked about this before in the past, that when you have a qualified retirement plan, this is your 457, 401k, your 403b plan, things of that nature, your IRA account, at some point in time, you're going to be forced to take that distribution out from the form of your RMDs, right? Required minimum distribution or mandatory distribution. This is something that most people will have to do because you're forced to do it. Whether you need the income or not, you'll have to take it. Now, what typically is the most efficient way to do so? Well, based on your age, it may determine how much you have to take out and when you have to take it out. But unfortunately, many of us may not need the income and you're having to take it out, and therefore you have to pay taxes on the portion that you do take out. So that's something we can't get around. But here's what I want you to start thinking about when it comes to legacy planning, okay? So it used to be that whenever you passed away, and if you had any money left over in your qualified plan, you could theoretically take that money and pass it to your heirs, and it would be based off of their life expectancy. They would have to pay those taxes off. So for example, if my mother and father passed away, I received their beneficiary IRA, or inherited IRA is what they would call it. They would base me paying those taxes on that beneficiary IRA based off of my life expectancy. So if I was expected to live 30, 40 years, I would be able to make those payments over that time period, right? Well, things changed, and when the Secure Act came out, one of the things that it had a provision for is that it got rid of the stretch IRA. And one of the things that came out of that was that you had to start taking those distributions over a 10-year period. Now, this didn't sound so bad on its surface, but when you start to think about it, imagine if you had $1 million left in your account, and that $1 million that you had in your account, you were going to leave it for your children. Well, let's assume I'm, 50 something years of age. I passed away when I'm in my 70s, let's just say. I plan on living a lot longer than that, but let's just say, well, my children are probably going to be in their earning years where they're probably making the most money that they've ever made. They're probably at 6 figures at this point in time, earning great income, not a lot of write-offs or deductions. They still may be single if they're not already married, right? And then all of a sudden you pass away and that $1 million goes to your kids. Well, here's the crazy part. That $1 million comes in the form of liability to them, in a sense, because of the fact that they have to take that $1 million and take it as a form of income over the next 10 years. So basically, you just gave your child $100,000 worth of new income that they get on top of their normal current salary, right? So if your kid is doing extremely well and they're making $100,000, 6-figure income, now they're adding an additional $100,000 on it. Can you imagine what kind of tax bracket that moves them into? And heaven forbid they're still single. because now they're getting almost half of their money taken right out from Uncle Sam. So as you can see, there is definitely a planning process needed in this standpoint. And one of the things that we want you to start thinking about is not only your lifestyle, but the longevity of maybe your children and how you're passing those assets on to your children. So in the process of doing this, you may want to think about, how do we plan from a legacy standpoint to pass those assets on to our children the most tax efficient way possible? So give us a call at the office. We'll sit down and talk to you a little about some strategies and ideas that we might have in order to do so that way you can help your children not have such a huge legacy, a huge liability while receiving those assets that you decide you want to leave for your children. You know, many of us want to leave our kids in a better situation. Now, you can look at it from the concept of, yeah, we're leaving them some money, so even if they got half of it, it's still worth something. But for me, I don't want to give up any extra money to Uncle Sam unless I have to. So let's help you strategize, come up with a better idea and strategy on how to go about doing this, and look at some options that may be available to make sure that you can plan your legacy and be able to pass it down to your children the most tax efficient way possible. Okay, guys, that's my 5-minute wealth tip for the morning. You guys have an amazing day. Hopefully you guys are doing well today, and I'll see you guys on the other side or in the office. Take care. Be well and blessed. Bye-bye.